I'm Eric Singer, and thanks for joining us for Pikes Peak Association of Realtors Reality Check when it comes to marijuana in Southern Colorado and how it affects your buying and selling habits. Joining me now, licensed realtors Patrick and Daniel Muldoon. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
All right, let's talk about the biggest elephant in the room right now, especially with legal marijuana. What do buyers and sellers need to look at?
Well, I think one of the biggest things to consider as a seller that has come up is, do you disclose if you've grown it? And as a rule of thumb, absolutely you should at this point. This is a federal law. Our state law is different from there. And so you should disclose if you, in fact, have been growing marijuana inside your house.
But in some cases, there is that instance where someone isn't going to disclose that, and you as a realtor have to go in and be able to at least notice certain things to make sure your buyers are not unaware of what happened.
Yeah, it's true. Unfortunately, disclosure, although it's required by law, is not always done properly. From a seller's perspective, though, you really want to make sure that you do it. It's a CYA for you. For the realtors, it gets kind of obvious. There's generally high humidity in the house. Electrical panel could have been tampered with. Air conditioning units that aren't ducted right. So just some things to look out for if you're a buyer and you think you're maybe looking at a property that could have potentially been a grow. I'd look into those things at minimum.
Now let's focus on the property management aspect of it. Obviously, you're both experts in that, licensed with the Pikes Peak Association of Realtors. Let's talk a little bit about that, something that's cropping up potentially within that realm.
Well, one of the things we're seeing, and a lot of people are noticing now, is tenants think that they can grow inside the property. One of the things you need to consider if you've got property management, whether that's commercial, Eric, or if you're doing residential, is does your insurance cover you if you've got to grow and somebody gets hurt? I can tell you a lot of people don't recognize the fact that your insurance may not cover you if that happens. And that's something you should need to know, because that's a liability on you.
Final thoughts for the consumer out there?
Yeah, I think insurance is a big deal. I also just think that it's a problem that we're going to have to deal with. It's legal at the state level. It's illegal at the federal level. Amendment 64 carved out exceptions for landlords. You do not have to allow it just because it's state. Recreational or medicinal, it doesn't matter. It's still illegal federally. So from a landlord's perspective, there's a lot of risk involved. I don't generally think it's a good idea to allow it. If it happens and you find out about it, you need to address it. Usually those are going to be in your lease. You need to go back on the provisions in the lease. And eviction, ultimately, or sometimes the tenants just flat don't know. They think that because it's legal, they can do it, and it's not the case. So be prepared to deal with it. It's going to be a bigger problem, not a smaller problem as we get into the future.
All right, thank you both very much, Patrick and Daniel Muldoon, licensed realtors with the Pikes Peak Association of Realtors. And of course, PPAR is always looking out for you. I'm Eric Singer. Thanks for watching.